All right, Aurora. I wanted to get together and chat with you a little bit on what's on in the insurance market, specifically California, but really nationally. I know a lot has changed over the last 12, 24 months, obviously in the news and everything. But it's also affecting the way we do business, carrier guidelines, restrictions, trying to navigate all that. So I just want to get your take on some of these things because working with our referral partners, our lenders, our realtors, and all those individuals that utilize us as a resource for insurance for their clients, the game has changed quite a bit. Our processes have changed. As you know, you and I are working daily on the way our team transitions business, works through it, and get it. I like to say gone is the day of the 1 hour turnaround quotes. It's a lot more involved, and I like to say we're working about 20 years in the past now when it comes to technology due to what carriers have done. But I just want to get your opinion on what referral partners should expect with processing times and really the process when it comes to the home quote. So I just want to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is, like you said, 1 hour turnarounds is nearly impossible.
Gone.
We have to go through an entire process. Some insurance carriers right now are limiting, they won't even release a quote until it's been 15 to 20 days. On top of not releasing the quote, they're requiring a lot of documentation up front. So we have to have full interior photos, exterior photos, utility bills. So if someone's purchasing a home, that's near impossible to get. That's their way of trying to keep the market from going forward, as well as a contractor statement. So the contractor statement is different than a home inspection. So on top of them doing a normal home inspection, they have to have a contractor statement that goes out and they review the roof, they review the plumbing, the electrical, and get that okay. Those have to be submitted to the carrier. The carrier has to review it. And during this entire time, we don't know if it's going to be approved or if that rate's going to come back at all. So those are the biggest obstacles that we're seeing right now is all of the hoops that the insurance companies want to put us through. And the fact that they're really not taking anything in the marketplace, even down to like Orangevale at this point.
Yeah, and I know a lot of our partners are always asking because we're coming with even more information we're needing, a lot of back and forth. So we're really trying to set up front on some of the information we need. But it's because the carriers now are requiring so much more, like you just said, just to release the quote. I think it's important to touch on why they're doing this, though, because I've had a lot of conversations with some of our preferred partners that we work with, and they don't fully grasp it. I know the consumer doesn't fully grasp what's going on, and why the carriers are really trying to strategically, get their business profitable. Right? I mean, what's happened in California over the last 3, 4, 5 years has really taken a toll. And it's finally come to the point where the carrier said, we can't maintain this anymore. And you're seeing some drastic measures take place. So I just want to briefly touch on that because I think that's a very important discussion to have when talking about, hey, this is why our process is so much different because of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's several factors that go into it. And one of the biggest, of course, is that insurance companies have lost, 20 plus years worth of profits due to the claims that are happening out there. The cost of things have just risen in general, especially after COVID, when we're dealing with supply chain issues, we're dealing with the cost of actual work going up. But one of the biggest factors of it is the fact the insurance companies cannot take the rate that they are needing due to Prop 103 here in California. So that prevents them from going in and saying, hey, I know we can only ask for 6.9% essentially without having to go to public hearing here in California. So they're 5 to 6 years behind in actually being able to take the rate that they need. So the only available option that they have is to slow down the amount of business that's coming in. And so as more insurance companies like State Farm, Allstate, Farmers start to limit, that puts pressure on other insurance companies to get a lot more than what their normal growth goals was. And so as a result, they have to put these hard stops in there to be able to control the flow of business coming in so that they can remain profitable, which we want them to, because if they can't be profitable, then if a claim happens, they're not going to be able to bring you back to whole. So it's frustrating in a marketplace to not have very many options, but it's very important that we respect the fact that they're trying to maintain and keep losses from occurring.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you and I are always conversing basically daily right now because really things are changing daily with carriers from, guideline changes. Some are implementing, they won't insure any homes 25 years or older, roof changes, zip code blocks, saturation issues. So it's really important. And I know, and I always echo this to our referral partners. That's one of the value adds that you and I and Sky Insurance, our entire team, offer is we're navigating this market. We're working through all the carriers, all the options available. Even have our relationships with the captive carriers that we don't even write with, Farmer, State Farm, to make sure that we're doing our fiduciary duty for the best case scenario for the clients. Even if that means a carrier that we can't provide, we'll place them or help them, assist them get over to a carrier that can place that business. So I think that's important that our referral partners know that this is something that we're working very hard to navigate and make sure that we're staying on top of our game and really an industry leader for them and for the clients that they represent.
Absolutely. Without having that synergy out there in the marketplace, we're just not going to do what's best for the customer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So another conversation I've had is a better way that lenders and realtors can prep their clients for insurance. I've always said, as the home insurance has shifted with the high fire mountainous regions. We get brought in now on the front end of the cycle rather than the back end when it comes to an escrow transaction. We're not the last minute, hey, we need insurance, let's get that done real quick. But even more so with what's going on, these restrictions, it's timing is so important because, like we just said at the beginning, things take a lot more time to work through this process and navigate these markets. But what would your recommendations, advice be for our realtor partners, our lender partners, to just prep their clients to prepare shopping and reviewing insurance in general right now?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the timing is key. So for what used to be like, hey, we've already been in escrow for 4 weeks and now we need insurance. Can you jump in here? Those days are over. One of the very first things that either the client needs to do or you need to do as a realtor or lender is to start that insurance process, request the information. Start that quote right from the beginning, gather photos. Like the most that you can do as especially a realtor as you're going to put these houses on the market, have some photos available from the interior and the exterior that you can put into an insurance file. Get as much information as you can in regards to permits. Last time things were updated. If you have a contractor on board, it's good to just have that statement already when you go to list all of those things. But the biggest thing is making sure that the process starts. What the reality of it is this is no longer a mountain region. So an example is I have a buyer that was buying in Fair Oaks. There wasn't a single option that was available to him in Fair Oaks because of the River Canyon exposure to it. So that individual had to go to the California Fair Plan. They didn't reach it because it's Fair Oaks. They didn't even think to bring in insurance until about 4 days before closing.
Yep.
Their only option was to go to the California Fair Plan, which right now is being inundated to such a degree that the standard turnaround time for a quote is about 5 to 7 business days now. So that means, again, on top of starting the insurance process earlier, the minute that you have to go to the California Fair Plan, as a lender, you want to make sure that the photos are provided, the application has been submitted, and that is in the works for their before you ever ask for an evidence of insurance. So
timing is key. The more time, the better right now. Like we
the
cannot
more
stress that
time, the
enough.
better. And working with somebody, making sure the limitations are there. Farmers is a really good example. They have, it's all over the news. They have a limitation of the number of policies that they can issue in a month. So if you get an approval from farmers at the beginning of the month, you're best to bind that, and you can always change effective dates. But what you don't want to do, and we see, like I've had a couple farmers agents that I work with that say, hey, that customer I released that quote to, we just got notification that we're close to our capacity for this month. If they need it right now, they need to call me right now. So that's what's going to start happening as more and more companies start to do these limitations across California for the number of policies per month. You're going to want to make sure that you bind things as soon as possible. The same thing happens with saturation. We can get a quote and a pricing at the beginning. After 2 weeks, some of these companies are going to refresh their saturation and that quote can become invalid or it can increase in pricing. So once somebody decides on something, it's really important to pick up that policy as soon as possible so that you don't lose it.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And I think we're going to close with this because this kind of steps into what you just said as well. I have, especially lenders come to us and, the Fair Oaks, the Sacramento, the suburbs, right? They're used in past years to seeing insurance $600 a year, $700 a year.
Yep.
So when they're running their figures for debt to income ratios, they're putting in the token $50, $60 a month. Even if we're finding the preferred markets, obviously rates across the board have changed drastically. Even for the 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,200 square foot brand new house in West Roseville, we're seeing a difference there. So really kind of reconfiguring that mindset and understanding that insurance is really shared risk, right, across the board. So it's not just the home up in Forest Hill on a mountain that is seeing this huge price increase. We're seeing it across the board with all carriers, all home types, new builds, everything. So those expectations need to shift a little bit. Would you agree, or anything you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just an example of some of these homes that we're seeing in Folsom, Rancho Cordova, Orangeville, even though we can find a traditional market for it, they are averaging $200 a month plus now for a traditional suburban home. Brand new built construction homes, those are averaging about $100 per month
Yep.
on there. So yeah, $60, that's not happening any
Yeah.
longer out there in the
The good old
marketplace.
days.
Yeah, so very important to reflect that appropriately for their DTI so that there's no surprises. Once we actually do that, get that quote back and approved, there's no shocks on having to reconfigure everything at the last minute.
Yep. Nope. Great info. So I'll just close in saying that to our referral partners, our realtors, our lenders, people in the community, we just want to thank you. I know this time is very unique and very crazy in the insurance market in California, but Aurora, myself, and our entire team here at Sky Insurance is absolutely committed to being at the forefront of this, navigating it, and giving your clients, our clients, the absolute best options and peace of mind available in this market to insure their home, their autos, all the above. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart for all the trust you've put in us over the years, and we look forward to continue working with you. All
Absolutely.
right. Thank you, guys.